mics, guys. Adam, welcome. How are you feeling coming into this week?
Well, pretty good, to be honest. I'm happy to be back home. It's been a while since I've been home, the last couple of years. Although it's been a long time, it seems a bit like a blur with everything that's gone on for everybody, and I'm excited to play again down here. So it's kind of all really good, and I prepared nicely, I think, for this event. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and playing a course that has familiar feelings, although I'm not very familiar with it.
Adam, after carrying the torch for Aussie golf for the last 15, 20 years or so, what's it like at the moment seeing so many Aussies come up and excel all at once on the international stage?
I think it's great. I think, again, it shows kind of the health of the game generally and what's being put into the game down here, and it's certainly paying off. And I think these waves come along every few years with a host of players in them, and it's stacking up pretty deep at the moment. So hopefully some of the young stars are on their way up to now following Cam's footsteps and Minji's footsteps as well.
Does it even reinvigorate you a bit seeing them do that?
Maybe indirectly. I haven't really thought about it, but I still haven't achieved all the things I wanted to achieve in my own career, and I think in a bigger conversation, it's been an interesting couple of years. Certainly, it's been frustrating for me. Things haven't gone exactly my way, and when that's not happening at a competitive level, that's frustrating. But I think recently or this year certainly I made some good moves in turning it around, and I'm feeling good about where my own game's going. So I'm generally reinvigorated to kind of finish off what I set out to do in my career.
Scotty, you spent a fair bit of time chipping around the 18th and had a big chat with Stevie about the grain and about how you're going to go about it. How big of a change is that from everything you've been playing this year to coming here and chipping and putting around here?
Well, I think the challenge of this golf course is the green complexes, and the general feeling is better have a good look at it tomorrow because it's our last chance to do it. Played around a little bit out there with different kind of shots depending on the grain around the greens, but that's one challenge, and then the green itself is quite a challenge. There's quite a lot of movement. There's not a lot of margin for error pitching or even hitting into these greens because there aren't a lot of flat spots. So if you can strike it well this week, you're at a big advantage. Even though it's very generous off the tee, you've got to be pretty precise to get it close by on the green. Otherwise, there's a big chance of it running away, and that's where the trouble's going to be.
Is it a bit of a case of it's a golf course you quite like to play, but one you wouldn't normally see in a lot of tournaments overseas?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say. We wouldn't play many courses like this, certainly not on the PGA Tour.
Adam, you came back in 2013 after you'd won the Masters, and there's a great, celebration down at Royal Ponds at that stage with everyone in a flap about the green jacket, which you paraded around, which was fantastic. The feel now that Cam's brought the claret jug back to Brisbane, can you relate to how people are getting the buzz out of that and hearing, I guess, maybe secondhand that people are in a bit of a flap about Cam coming back and just what he's achieved?
Yeah, well, I think it's great. I mean, obviously it's very similar. It's not often that, an Aussie brings the claret jug back to our shores, and Cam's win certainly should be celebrated just for winning, but also I think, at least from where I stood, hasn't been celebrated enough that he shot 30 on the back nine, and it might be one of the most historic back nines in Open Championship history. So hopefully everyone is really enjoying getting to see Cam and the claret jug and get to celebrate with him. And I was lucky to celebrate with him that night.
Can you give us a little insight as to how those celebrations went?
They went pretty quick and hard, and I felt worse off for it the next day. But it was such an epic victory. You know, it's kind of all the asterisks next to a major victory you could ever want. And you know, he'd been playing so well the whole year. It was it really capped off a career year, you know, and I'm sure he's going to go on to many more great victories, but this is certainly going to be seen as one of his best years in his career.
We've just seen the draw for Thursday. You and Cam are paired in the same three off early with Ryan Fox.
Okay.
How does that match up for you going off early?
Well, playing with Cam and Ryan is great for me. Playing at 6 o'clock is less great, but it's okay. It's what happens at the PGA when it's in Queensland, and hopefully the jet lag works to my advantage on Thursday.
Adam, Steve was mentioned before. Is he back with you full time now? And if so, what's brought that him coming back?
No, he's not back with me full time. If we continued on to work together past these 2 weeks, which is the intention, he'll be on like a job share with Greg, who's been caddying for me. And really the reason for that is some of the changes to the PGA Tour schedule next year, the intensity of play over the January to August season. Greg lives in Perth. It's very difficult to fly back and forth from Perth to play, and I felt it's a good opportunity to alleviate that stress, and Steve was interested to caddy again, so we're kind of seeing if we've got some magic in us these couple of weeks, and I'm sure it'll be good anyway, but I think it's a good time. I've job shared with Steve before out there, and Greg actually job shared with Louis Oosthuizen for 7 years, so I think it will fit me well. I mean, I thought long and hard about that opportunity, and obviously Steve and I have had great success, so I think there's good vibes happening all around, and that's what I want for next year out there too. Good vibes, fresh feeling. You know, I'm a little different player than I was when Steve first started caddying for me, and I think I'll be able to manage the job share quite easily.
You just mentioned about the changes to the PGA Tour next year. You are happy with them?
I think they're moving in the right direction. Yeah, I do. I think they've made some changes for next year, and I think there are more changes to come by the sounds of it. So I think they're moving in the right direction.
Tony? Just while the microphone goes over, did you have to chase Steve to come and caddy for you, or did he make it?
He was banging down my door. Couldn't wait. He loves it. Don't believe anything else he says. He loves it. He's loving getting back out here. No, Steve and I have stayed in touch ever since he worked for me, and you know, you get to different stages in your life, whether you're Steve the caddy or Adam the golfer, and you know, when I feel like when he stopped working, you know, he'd been away for a lot of his life travelling, and his son was at an age where he wanted to be with him while he was still a kid, and he's a big kid now, but you know, he's now 17 years old, and he has his own career actually. So, you know, and Steve's position in life has changed again, and mine has too. I'm in a very different position than when we left, and it's nice that we feel like it could marry back up again and yield some good results. And, you know, it's a good energy, that's for sure.
Tony?
Has Steve mentioned whether the Scooter Tour and the PGA Tour line up?
Yeah, that'll be the next thing we have to talk about, the scooter tour schedule. But I think it'll all be very manageable. You know, I generally don't play that much, although it's going to be a bit more frequent next year given the schedule, and you know, we'll balance it the best we can, and I think that's why doing the job share will work nicely, especially with two guys who live on the other side of the world to the States. And speaking for myself, I don't live in the States, but I'm spending way more time in the States next year just to think I'm going to compete seriously. I can't be flying all around the world playing against guys who don't. So I've shifted my focus as well. I want to fulfill my dreams and goals as a player, and time is less and less on my side. So, you know, I have to do everything I can to make sure I'm giving myself the best chance.
What are those primary motivators and goals at this point?
You know, it depends how you look at it, but I guess I've wanted to win all the majors, and that sounds like a lot, but really it's 3 more events. It's just got to be the right week. But I have all the tools. I'm still very healthy. I'm still moving the golf ball well, and I have a lot of experience, and I'm just trying to put it all together. And you know, it's a process to that. You know, certainly playing consistently better is going to help that. So I'm doing everything I can to kind of get that consistency up, like shifting my schedule around a little bit and spending a bit more time in the States next year and doing a little less travel. All these things to kind of chip away and get myself ready for the events I want to win the most.
And now, is it true that there was an app launched here today, an Adam Scott app?
It's not the Adam Scott app, but when a couple of buddies of mine during the whole COVID thing, we got together and created an app, and it launched in Australia today. It's called Fair Game, and it's a golf app. It's like a digital clubhouse, kind of a bit of a social network for golfers. We launched it in America in August, and it's been going well, so keep an eye out for it here.
And I think we've just got one small presentation if anyone's got any other questions, but a little welcome
Since
home.
it's your first time in
Beautiful.
Australia for 3 years.
Yes, thank you very much.
When did you arrive home, actually, Adam? How long have you been home, and what's the plan? How long are you going to be back for?
Yeah, I got home on Sunday, so I've really just been home a couple of days, and I just came straight to Brisbane. I got to see Mum and Dad real quick, and you know, I'll hopefully get back up the coast after we finish in Melbourne, and my family will come down in a few weeks when the kids are out of school, and we'll stay pretty much until the Genesis tournament in LA, which is in mid-February, I think. So we've got a nice bit of time back here.